There's a place where the living and the dead trade whispers.
Where shadows don't just follow, they watch.
Where one thin barrier holds back what waits on the other side.
You've stepped into the veil between. What you're about to hear drifts between fact, belief, and the unknown. The veil between is for entertainment purposes only.
Our stories, research, and experiences are our own, not medical, legal, or professional advice.
So step carefully, and remember, the choice to believe is always yours.
Welcome back, fam, to the Veil Between podcast. Hope everyone's having a great week. It'll be Wednesday, so hump day. Woo woo.
Yeah, I know I've been having a great week.
Yeah. So, ready to roll into it?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll into it. We got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be interesting. Going to ruin something that a lot of people enjoy again, because that's what we do. We just ruin things for people. We ruin Christmas. What else we ruin? The Ouija boards.
Really anything fun.
Really anything fun. I know. It's just, that's the nature of the beast in this world. You know, everything fun. Everything's been polluted. Everything's been infiltrated and turned against us. Even our food is turned against us. Right?
Let's not talk about that. You've been sending me clips on Instagram of like the junk that goes into our fast food and even just grocery store food. It was seriously depressing this week. I was just like, nothing's safe. We're all dying. We're all being poisoned.
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's crazy. Everything, it just has poison in it. Except for the most expensive stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's done for a reason. That's done for a reason. They're trying to
because the elites have to have something safe to eat.
Cold to her. It's the grass milk that they sell at the store, the grass-fed milk, organic milk. There's a reason why it's $7.99. All right. And the cheap stuff is $3.59. Right. The cheap generic stuff that they put all the poison in.
Yeah.
$3.59. There's a reason for that. So they're just trying to it's how they look at it. They're just trying to cull the herd, make sure we don't live to a ripe old age.
Well, I feel like even I saw something that even the organic food section is like really messed up because all the pesticides have it's not safe anymore. Apparently organic doesn't mean anything anymore. Anything is organic.
They find a way to go around the semantics of it.
Yeah.
And to still incorporate the poison in it. Like, I've noticed the only things that really aren't infected by the poison are the absolute most expensive things you have to go out of your way to get.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to be spending that much money anyway to eat healthy, I might as well support local farmers and go to the farmers market. Like, being in San Diego, we're really lucky that there are a ton of farmers markets. Like, every town, every city has a farmers market, and they're all on different days. So you could literally hit up one a day, like every day.
Yeah, I buy raw honey. I buy sourdough from there. Sometimes I buy a few pastries. Get a lot of stuff from the farmers market. And that's what they're doing, is they're just pushing us towards buying local, buying fresh from the farmers market.
I don't mind. I am more than happy to support the local farmers.
Same here.
Because I feel like they get the shaft anyway.
Yeah, they do. They don't get treated fairly. You know, big corporations do unfair practices to push them out or to drive up their costs. So,
right.
Yeah, I enjoy helping the local farmers. And you see the faces of the people making your food. And you know that they're just good, salted-earth people like you.
Absolutely.
And that's not some faceless corporation using genetically modified seeds and things like that in order to try to turn a profit at the expense of your health. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really thankful that I live in Southern California, San Diego to be exact, where you're right. We have farmers markets going all week. You know, if a farmers market isn't happening here, I can go to Poway, or I can go to Mira Mesa, or I can go to, real deep into San Diego.
Like Carlsbad has one.
Chula Vista, Carlsbad, all over the place.
Even like Orange County, like Temecula, Murrieta, like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, that we just started off with a tangent because that is not what we're actually talking about today. I think maybe we should do a full episode on just food.
We should. I mean, it's not our expertise, really.
But it is making us sick, and it is lowering our vibrations and our frequency. So it is in vain.
And it's lowering our cognitive abilities as well.
Yeah.
Which makes it.
It's calcifying our pineal
glands. Yeah, which grounds us more into the material realm. I guess, yeah, you know what? That does make a good argument.
Yeah.
Of why it does pertain to the occult and metaphysical.
I mean, and I have a lot to say about fluoride.
Oh yeah, fluoride's awful stuff.
Fluorite and fluoride.
Awful stuff.
Yeah. So okay, we'll table that for now.
Do you guys want that on an episode to learn about all the poisons being put into our food source?
How it's affecting us.
How it's affecting us? Let us know. We'll do an episode on it.
Psychically, how it's affecting us psychically. Because I mean, there's already a bunch of information out there on YouTube and whatever about just how it's affecting your body.
Yeah.
But how is it affecting our psyche?
Yeah, exactly. Affecting psyche, like you said, the pineal gland, which is the philosopher's stone. They don't talk about that. They don't tell you what the philosopher's stone really is. It's the pineal gland. It's a secret amongst magicians. And the only way to truly discover it is by living a healthy life, both spiritually and physically. But it's becoming harder nowadays because the Luciferians are putting poison into our system, which calcifies our pineal gland, which makes it very difficult to obtain, the power. And they're not doing it to themselves.
Wait, isn't the philosopher's stone what you use to make gold?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's all metaphorical. It's all metaphorical. So, be a perfect example. One of the people who has decalcified their pineal gland from a very young age is also happens to be one of the wealthiest people in the world, is Elon Musk. That's why his mind is able to calculate things that the rest of us can't. And I remember watching Joe Rogan, and he said, I'm friends with Elon Musk, and it's the equivalent of a boy and his dog. He felt like he was a dog compared to Elon Musk because, Elon Musk is so smart. So when you decalcify your pineal gland, you open...
Where did you hear that he did that?
Oh, you could just tell. You could tell by the way he lives. He's extremely healthy and very, very careful about what he puts in his body. And so when you look at what he puts in his body and how he's very careful about it, as a magician, I analyze this, like, why is he doing? Oh, that's right. He's trying to make sure the pineal gland doesn't get calcified.
Do you think he's a dark practitioner?
I don't think so. I don't think he's a dark practitioner. Maybe gray, but not dark. I don't get the vibes off of him that he's a dark practitioner. Good example of a dark practitioner would be like...
Well, we know.
Jay-Z, Sean Puffy Combs, Hillary Clinton. I'm not suicidal, by the way. I live a very happy life. I'm very blessed. Simone can attest to that. She's my best friend, my partner in crime. She can attest to that. I'm very happy, and I'm very in a very good place. So if I end up missing,
I think we're still small potatoes enough that we're on nobody's radar.
But those examples, you can tell it radiates off of them, and there's an abnormality about them in which it becomes erratic. Like when you see how they move and they behave very differently. They behave more in a Canaanite fashion. Elon Musk, while he may seem kind of odd because he's always calculating in his mind, I know that because my college professor told me the same thing. She's like, you calculate in your mind a lot of things that are happening, which is the reason why when you say things, it seems like you're 20 steps ahead of everyone else. That's Elon Musk. Elon Musk is 20 steps ahead. He's like 20,000 steps ahead of everyone else. So I don't think that I think a lot of people will disagree with me because they don't agree with his politics.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a negative practitioner. Even if whether I agree with his politics or not, I don't completely agree with some of the stuff he says. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you're a really good chess player. I mean, you could have been a general, man.
Oh, yeah.
You could have been a general.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that was a long tangent, but it was good. So let us know if you want us to dive in deep into what we're eating, what we're consuming, and how that affects us. And we can even branch off into the chemtrails. Like I said, the fluoride in the water, which branches out to other things. So let us know in the comments if that's something you want us to do a video on or an episode on. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the Olympic Games because they just recently happened. It's a hot topic. People are talking about how with this latest 2026 games and the 2024 games, the open ceremonies were very satanic looking. A lot of people are like, what is happening? Especially the 2024 one. I think maybe they toned it down in the 2026. But they try to be more subtle. But like the people who know, they're like, that's like a full-on symbol, you know?
It's the frog in the water effect, you know. They're slowly heating it up each year. They see what they can get away with, and then they reel it back if it becomes too obvious. But everything that the Luciferians do in our society, they piecemeal it to you. Give you a little crumb here, a little bit more here, until eventually, you know, before you know it, you're boiling alive.
Well, and the interesting thing is, and this might be old news, I'm not sure because I don't really listen to the news, so I had to dig for this. But the 2024 games, the committee, after the outrage, of all the viewers and whatnot, they apologized and they're
Yeah.
like, we're so sorry. With the 2026, no one's apologizing. I
No.
think they toned it back and they're like, we are not apologizing for shit.
No, they don't really want to. The apology, I
Yeah.
think, was more of it was a superficial attempt to salvage their declining viewership, because a lot of Christians are starting to turn away from watching these dark rituals, and which have an effect on your subliminal. These dark rituals have an effect on your subliminal, whether you realize it or not. So when you watch them, if you don't have a guarded mind, you can be affected by the negativity that it pours out.
Well, I think they try to take 2 steps forward
Mhm.
and then 1 step back. Like
Yeah.
they try to shock us just to see if they can get away with it.
Yeah. And they did.
And then when people get outraged, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then they take 1 step back, which is what they did this year. They took 1 step back and they're not apologizing for shit. So that the next time around, when they take 2 steps forward, they're already surpassing 2024. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to take 2 steps forward because they're always trying to push the envelope. They're always trying to see what they can get away with. And it's not just the Olympics. This is like everything. This is Hollywood. This is politics. They're always trying to push the envelope to see what we will let slide. And they've been doing this for so long, for hundreds and hundreds of years, that it is like boiling a frog slowly.
Mhm.
I mean, to see how society is today versus how it was even in our childhood in the 80s, it is so different. And it's even drastically different from like the 50s when our parents grew up. You know, in the 50s, everything was like cookie cutter, white picket fence. You had all this new technology. It was the beginning of the technology boom, but everything was more wholesome. And now it's people eating each other on a display. You know, that was in the 2024 Olympics where they had the table and the man laying on it.
They were mocking the Last Supper.
Yeah.
They were using Canaanite deities, and they were placing the Canaanite deities at the Last Supper instead of Jesus and the apostles. It was a huge insult. And, you know, the passive Christians, they were upset about it, but nothing really came of it until the Muslims did something about it. They were out there protesting outside the international.
And they kind of shamed us. They one guy in particular was like, I'm not Christian, I'm not Catholic, and I'm offended for you. You should stand up.
Islam does revere Jesus, they call him Isa, as a prophet. So they were super upset and pissed off at what had happened.
Yeah.
Even more so, I felt like Christians should have been more upset. They're the ones raising hell. And who's the bald gentleman that upsets everyone? His name is
I don't know.
the glasses, and he's
I think
also a
that's the guy
professional
that said it.
fighter. Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. But anyways, he was taken up for Jesus harder than most Christian authorities. Very
Right.
proud of him and very thankful.
He was the one that was like, for shame, like you should
Someone
be shamed.
did. Yeah, he was out. He's absolutely right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, where's the Christian leadership? Why aren't they leading the crusade? So I was very proud to see, you know, another branch of the Abrahamic faith coming out and, you know, taking up for us like that. We should have did more. But yeah, they were insulting Jesus in the Last Supper. It was pretty blatantly out there, slap to the face. But that goes to prophecy. Daniel's prophecy is that when you see the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place, you know that the time is near. So we are living in the last days. We're seeing the signs, the abomination of desolation. So we were seeing the Canaanite gods, all of the caricatures of the Canaanite gods on display in the holy place where the Last Supper was. And now you know that was one of the signs that it's coming. The whole world saw it because the whole world watched the Olympics. When the prophecies happen, the whole world will see it. When the whole world saw that the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place, the clock started for the next phase of the apocalypse. Because we're in it right now, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. But the next phase of the apocalypse is taking off. And the next phase of apocalypse should be war. And according to my limited theological knowledge, there should be war. So we dealt with pestilence, which was disease. We're still going to deal with it, but now war's coming. So they're all going to overlap each other. War's next. So,
And the pestilence was COVID.
Right? I have a feeling it's going to get worse, though. Like pestilence as itself, it's going to get worse because no one's taking it seriously anymore. In boxing and in war in general, you always want to lead with the placebo, with the fake attack, and then go in with the hard strike when people are not ready. They get complacent. In boxing, you lull them in like Muhammad Ali with jab, jab, jab.
So kind of like,
You would get used to the jab, and then before you know it, you get lulled into that, oh, I'm just blocking a jab, I'm just blocking. Oh, the right cross comes in and knocks me out.
So kind of like the boy who cried wolf.
The boy who cried wolf.
Like we know COVID was all man-made and they did it to us.
Yep. And then,
so now we're not taking anything that they say seriously.
and they
but
have something vicious waiting probably in a deep underground military base, and they're going to unleash it on us. It's the reason why they have all these bunkers they're making.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're going to release it on us. And on top,
It's not to protect them from another world war.
Well, it's probably for both, because they're going to have wars as well too, and the ICBMs are going to start flying. But the way that the planet is described in the last days is that it's going to be super devastated, and frequencies are going to be changed to a point where demons are going to be pouring through, and the planet's going to be just devastated to the point where there aren't going to be any more animals, because God's going to either call them up. On top of that, he's going to call up all the children, and there's going to be no children. There's going to be no animals. It's just going to be us on this devastated planet. Yeah, so it's going to be awful. It's going to be awful. And then we're going to devastate it through our own stupidity and capitulation to the Luciferian agenda.
Okay. Well,
frog in the water.
Yeah, definitely. So I was curious about how the Olympics got started and how we ended up to where we are now. So there were a few things that I knew, but there was a lot I didn't know. So I really wanted to do some research and get some information, and just to see the timeline, how we have come
That's fair.
all the way over here. Okay, so the ancient Olympic Games began in 776 BCE in Olympia, Greece, and were held in honor of Zeus. So already they're worshiping a deity.
A false deity. Zeus is another guise of Lucifer. Lucifer has many guises, many names. Same evil, horrible entity. So the likeness of Zeus being the god of lightning is referenced also to
the light bearer.
Lucifer. Well, not just the light bearer. Lucifer in the Bible is said shot out of heaven like a lightning bolt. So those are the two that correlate.
So the games were not originally sporting events. They were religious festivals. They included animal sacrifices, particularly 100 oxen. They called it a hecatomb. Ritual processions, like the Olympics, that's where they're walking in.
When you're holding up a torch, the light bearer.
Yeah. Oaths sworn before statues of Zeus.
Oh, again, and the light bearer is another nickname of Lucifer for those who might not know.
Leading the masses.
Right?
Because the light bearer is in the front, and then you're followed by the procession.
Yeah.
And then again, oaths sworn before statues of Zeus, again, worshiping their god.
Their
right?
god, yep.
And the thing is, our God says not to worship him, right?
No, our God says to worship him. Our God says not to do crazy stuff in his name, and don't do displays and public displays. Your relationship is supposed to be personal with God.
Yeah.
So the relationship with God, like Jesus says, don't go out and complain if you're fasting. Don't go do prayers in the street to try to get people's attention so that you're pious. You do that on your own, and you'll get repaid and shown kindness and love and favor by God if you do it in private, because that shows humility.
Right. But isn't there a thing where, was it Jesus that said, like, don't idolize me. Don't put up idols of me. Right?
Yeah. Don't put up false idols. You don't pray to false idols. You pray to God.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't do false idols. Don't do anything like that. Because God doesn't really have an appearance. God's all around you. So it's like, it's crazy to worship just like some crazy wooden statue, because that's not God. God is everything. So
yeah,
he comes everything. So that's the reason why that was worn. So these crazy displays go completely against what Jesus told us about how to worship God.
Right. Yeah. And then they made offerings to chthonic underworld deities.
And those are probably the demons on the other side.
Underworld doesn't get any more demonic than that. Underworld.
Yeah. We know that that's where demons come from. They're the dead souls of all the Nephilim and all of the people who decided to surrender their nefesh or were born without nefeshes in the antediluvian period.
So the athletic competitions were embedded inside a sacred rite designed to honor the gods, appease divine forces, and display human excellence as an offering. The victor's glory was not merely personal, but devotional.
It goes all back to the sin of pride, which is Lucifer's main attribution. Pride is the worst of the sins, in my opinion, because it's the gateway to all other ones.
Olympia was associated with dark myths, one being the Titan Cronus, who devoured his own children, and the hero Pelops, who, in one version of the myth, was killed, dismembered, and served as food by his father Tantalus, to the gods.
And that sounds familiar. So if you read the Epstein list or if you heard about what's happening on the list, that's exactly what's happening. People are sacrificing their children and actually
consuming
them. Yep. These practices, folks, go back a long ways. What you see in the Epstein files has been happening for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's still going on. Just because Jeffrey Epstein is dead doesn't mean it's over.
Yeah. Okay, so the ancient games were far more brutal than their modern counterparts. The events included pancration, which is a near no rules combat sport, boxing with leather thongs that could maim, wrestling, and chariot racing, which was often fatal.
Yeah, this was dangerous sports, real dangerous compared to what we do nowadays.
Yeah.
We have like UFC, but it's actually very tame compared to how they did pancration. And our NASCAR is way safer than their chariot races.
Right.
Their chariot races, they would actually attach weapons to each other and try to kill each other.
Oh, they have spikes on the wheels.
Yeah, they have that. They'd have like these giant poles, sticks, lances, whatever, and trying to knock each other off. Violent stuff.
They used whips. I mean,
scourges. Yeah, they no regard for human life.
Yeah, and it's later here, but also the Olympic Games were naked. They were in the nude. So you're getting hit with whips, you're getting speared at, you are completely just hanging out like you have no armor. This isn't like Ben-Hur where he had like
armor and stuff. Yeah, that was Roman. That's a little bit later.
After.
Those Roman chariot races were still super dangerous, though.
Definitely. Okay, so yeah, there were no rounds, no weight classes, and no safety oversight. Victory required endurance through pain, blood, and sometimes death. The body was tested as an offering. From an esoteric lens, the structure resembles an initiatory ordeal. Athletes trained for 10 months, a symbolic gestation period. They competed nude, called gymnos, which means that's Greek for naked, and side tangent. The word gymnasium, means a place to be naked. So you guys, when we go work out at the gym, we're supposed to be naked. So I thought that was funny. I was like, okay, I'm never going to the gym again. Okay. So, all right, let's see. So the games can be read as a ritual dramatization of heroic apotheosis, meaning divine, like they had divine status. They were seen as
spiritual
godlike.
ascension. Apotheosis is spiritual and mental ascension.
Yeah. And then the winners, the victors, they wouldn't get medals or anything. What they got was a olive wreath crown. That was what they won. It's called a kotinos. And I wanted to see like what the meaning behind, there had to be meaning behind that. And I know Greeks love their olives, like, so there had to be, something. So the symbolism of the olive specifically is peace, purification, sacred endurance, and divine favor. Olive oil was used in athletic ointing, ritual purification, temple lamps, burial rites. According to tradition, the tree that they made the crown out of was planted by Heracles.
I heard it was a gift from Athena too. I've heard different iterations about it.
Okay.
But none of that's true. God made it. So pure olive oil, pure virgin olive oil is one of the best things you can have in your diet. And the Greeks knew that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the Mediterranean diet, how they eat mostly fish, but then they also have the olives and just the olive oil. And then they also had honey, I think.
Yeah. Olive oil, just for those trying to decalcify your pineal gland, olive oil in your diet is one of those things that can help out a lot. So just a tangent there. If you
has to be like
cooking with olive oil is much better than cooking with other seed oils. Cooking with like Crisco or anything awful like that. If you cook with olive oil, it's much better for you, much healthier for you.
But you want to make sure it's like the best
quality. Make sure it's the best quality. Just it's going to cost a little bit more. Like the crap out there that you could get for $5.99 a bottle. The good stuff, the high quality stuff that's imported from Greece, Italy, pure organic. You'll know when you taste it because there'll be a sizzle on your tongue, slight sizzle. Whereas if you taste the stuff that's made here in the States, that's gross and overly pasteurized, there's no sizzle there.
It's just plain oil.
It's just plain oil. There's no sizzle there. So that's how you know if you have good olive oil. Take a little bit, about enough to cover your thumb, put it on your tongue. There'll be a little sizzle, a little kick. That's pure olive oil. That's the stuff you should cook with. That's the stuff you should have in your diet. That's the stuff that's going to help decalcify your pineal gland.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you to our local chef, our local nutritionist. I was curious to see if the Olympic Games were open to the world, and they were not. They were considered international, but their international meant Greek city-states across the Mediterranean. So Athens, Sparta, Corinth, and colonies in Asia Minor and southern Italy.
That makes sense.
Only freeborn Greek males, those who spoke Greek, and those not guilty of sacrilege or murder were allowed to participate in the games. Women were forbidden from competing, with the exception of priestesses and later limited equestrian.
It's just because women are just naturally lighter and more agile than we are, and that's what you need to ride a horse.
Yeah. The ancient Olympic Games were held continuously from 776 BCE at Olympia until the late 4th century CE. The turning point was the Roman Emperor Theodosius. In 380 CE, Theodosius declared Nicene Christianity the official state religion of the Roman Empire. Between 391 and 393, he issued decrees banning specifically pagan sacrifices, public pagan rituals, and worship at ancient sanctuaries. Literally everything the games was about.
Yeah, he was a good dude, very pious man. He didn't want any part of that mischief and evil anymore happening. I mean, can you imagine just seeing thousands of dead animals? It's insane. Like, no, there's no good entity in the world that wants to see things sacrificed. It's all evil.
Yeah.
It takes a measure of common sense for people to just really dig themselves out of that and understand, wait a second, that's evil. Because that's what the Romans did. For as bad as they were described in the Bible for the bad stuff they did while they were pagan, they really turned it around spiritually and became good folks towards the middle of the existence when they switched over to Christianity and getting rid of a lot of the evil practices.
Right. So it is theorized by most scholars that the final games was held in 393 CE. And in 426 CE under Theodosius II, many remaining pagan sanctuaries were destroyed or dismantled. Olympia eventually fell into ruin, aided by earthquakes and flooding.
God has spoken.
So that was the end of ancient games in ancient Greece. And then the modern Olympics were revived in 1896 in Athens by Pierre de Coubertin. Coubertin was a French educator deeply influenced by English public school athleticism, classical Greek ideals, and the concept of moral development through sport. His motivations were not pagan revivalism, but moral and social reform. He believed sports could strengthen youth, promote discipline, foster international peace, and reduce nationalism through shared competition.
Lies. All of it lies. More Luciferian lies. They always like to, like we were talking about earlier in the show, they always like to piecemeal things to you very carefully, and they package it very nicely, piecemealing it to you in a manner in which you can it's digestible, but those are all lies. They just brought it back because Luciferianism, Satanism, the old Canaanite worshippers decided they wanted to bring it back. That was it. But they knew that the public would not accept these horrible games unless we managed to repackage it in a manner which it was presentable. They have been each year getting more and more detestable in their practices and their rituals, especially the opening and closing rituals, which we saw this year during the Winter Games. We literally saw the star of Remphan on display, illuminated at the beginning of the games. We will show a picture of that on the YouTube recording, but you literally see it right there on display. Star of Remphan. Everyone keeps saying it. The Star of Remphan is the Star of David. It's the Mojan David, Star of David. It's not. Star of Remphan is the inverted pentacle. And the reason why is because the pentacle in itself is also a holy symbol. And what it is a symbol of humanity turned upside down, the downfall of humanity. That's the Star of Remphan right there. It also stands for human sacrifice. So that's one of the things that these individuals do a lot. That's the Star of Remphan. All right. Back in the day, these people used to openly have it out there, and Jesus saw it and was very upset when he saw it, and he called those individuals synagogue of Satan, because our people, the ancient Israelites, because those are spiritually our people, they started adapting the Star of Remphan openly. So we're starting to see it more openly now, like I just explained in the opening ceremony of the Olympics. It's right there. If you go and you look at it, it's plastered all over the internet. You can see it. A lot of theologians caught it, and it's illuminated there. They're basically saying your downfall. You're human. So understand these people don't like you. These individuals, whether they're aligned to evil or they're demonically possessed for whatever reason that they're aligned to evil, they don't like you. It's your downfall. That's what that symbol stands for. Okay? Your downfall. And sometimes they put a goat head on there. It's supposed to be Lucifer, but it is Lucifer's symbol because Lucifer ultimately wants to see the downfall and the subjugation of humanity. Now, Mojan David is something completely different. Mojan David is a very powerful sigil talisman of the right-handed path, and it predates Christianity, and it predates Islam, and it predates the Hebrew faith. It predates all of that. It actually goes back to Zoroastrianism. It goes way further back, and they've had the symbol around the world since before the flood. It's a symbol of God. So that's a whole different story. I will break that down. If you guys are interested in understanding the power behind the Mojan David and why it's not the Star of Remphan, let us know. Write us an email, let us know in either the comment section or let us know on Discord, and we'll be more than happy to sit down and break down the symbol for you and all its different meanings and the sacred geometry that's behind it and the power that's within it that you can yield yourself, because it is your birthright. But yeah, so the closing ceremony was even worse. The closing ceremony was basically them saying that the angels are being released from the pit. The fallen angels are being released from the pit. So it was really horrible when you see the whole thing, and it's just them just declaring victory over us, them telling us what's happening and laughing in our faces to their symbolism, and then they'll feign that it's not. They always lie. Just expect them to lie. That's what they do. Oh no, that's not what we were saying. It's not satanic. It's not evil. Yeah, it is. It's right there. If you believe your eyes, because they're going to try to tell you something else. Believe what you see. What you see is fallen angels rising from the pit, and that's exactly what happened after the first Olympic Games. In my opinion, when you look at, with my rough theological expertise, because it's pretty rough compared to some of the better ones, I believe that the watchers that were described in the book of Enoch were released at the turn of the century, which is one of the reasons why we saw such a spike in technology, but we also saw a spike in major worldwide war. We saw a spike in banking systems. We saw, because they're trying to consolidate their power subtly. They're trying to do it subtly. So they're trying to consolidate their power and rule over us like they did before the flood happened. That wiped out their previous empire, and then God sent the 4 archangels to lock their asses up. They're being freed. The worst of the worst have not been freed yet. According to my calculations, the worst of Lucifer's fallen angel minions are still in the pit under the river Euphrates. Samyaz is still there. He is the leader of the Watchers. Him and Azazel, a few other ones, Gotiel, horrible individual, the worst when it comes to fallen angels. The things they did were unspeakable. And when they get released again, they're going to go right back to doing those unspeakable things. So don't think that for 1 second that this is all in your head, and with all the things the Olympic Committee lies to you, it's all in your head. It's not satanic. It is. They're bragging about it. And soon, what they're saying is soon our masters are going to be coming out, and Lucifer's entire legion will be here on earth, ready to rule over us. It's a terrifying prospect. And that's exactly what the book of Revelation says is going to happen. It's exactly what the book of Enoch said is going to happen. It's exactly what Daniel said was going to happen. It's exactly what Jesus, when he warned us the last days, will look like the days of Noah. So get ready, buckle up, people. It's going to be quite the ride. And that's what they're telling us. And if you don't believe us, we're going to show pictures of it, but check it out. Do some research for yourself. Look into it. Look into what you're looking at. Okay? Don't just take our word for it. Do some research for yourself. If you're a magician and you want to follow this path of wisdom and enlightenment and you want to learn empowerment, you have to do research for yourself. Don't just take people's word for things. We're here to help and educate folks, but we are not the only authority. The only authority in this world is God in heaven.
Well said. So just to finish this up, Cobertson's games retained the ceremony, the torch symbolism, which was added later in 1936, international gathering, oaths, and ritualized opening and closing rites, the opening and closing ceremonies. However, it is said that while they were stripped of the sacrifice, the structure of sacred festival remained. And then also the global inclusion you see today developed gradually throughout the 20th century, and women were first allowed to compete in 1900. I mean, if you're looking at this, he still kept the ceremony, the torch symbolism, and the ritualized opening and closing rites. They always have been performing rituals. We watch it on TV. They are literally doing something.
And I'll add this caveat. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of bloodshed and sacrifices still going on. We just don't see it.
Right.
It's behind closed doors now, instead of just being out in the field for everyone to see when it was acceptable during those times by the pagan faith. Now they're probably doing it behind closed doors.
Yes, because while the actual ceremony is taking place for all of us to see, we're manifesting that all that energy, and it's just kind of collecting, and it reaches a peak. And when it reaches that peak, the ones that are doing their own rituals behind the scenes, underground or behind doors, whatever, they're using that large manifestation of energy that the games have created, that we have created in watching and participating in, and they're using it to do whatever they're doing.
To quote wise man Tony Robbins, how he says where attention goes, energy flows. And he's absolutely right. That's one of the basics of ritual practice.
I haven't watched the games in a really long time, like many years, but especially after 2024, I don't think I'll ever watch it again. Like, I'm literally only watching this. I watched the ceremony after the fact to see what hellish crap they did, but I'm not watching it live.
Yeah.
Feeding that energy.
Yeah, I'm not either. I decided to boycott them a while ago. It really didn't surprise me when I found out they were mocking the Last Supper. And then I just each year getting worse and worse and worse and more open with their satanic rituals.
And then they had a whole display of children.
Yeah.
Like, what? Especially with everything that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
It is in very poor taste, but obviously they were doing it for a reason.
Well, Moloch and Remphan are deities that demand sacrifice, and they're just other guises of Lucifer. So it actually makes perfect sense when you think about it, who these people are. And they'll lie to your face. Well, that's not the reason. No, that's what they're doing. They're giving energy to that. Very dark stuff.
So I think moral of the story is the games have always been pagan. They have always been satanic.
I would say not even pagan. Because at least, like, I know some pagans and they're very kind people. I wouldn't even attribute that to that. This is Canaanite Satanism, Luciferianism. This is what it is. It's Canaanite Luciferianism and Satanism. So I don't want to lump all pagans in there. There's some peaceful pagans. There's some very peaceful pagans out there. So I don't want to be too reductive and throw the baby out with the bathwater. But yeah, we'll call it that. We'll call it Canaanite, Luciferian, satanic practices. Right? They are polytheistic, yes, because they worship the different guises of fallen angels. But I wouldn't lump them in with like some of the pagans that, although I don't agree with it, like worship the moon. Right? They're not nearly as bad as they're not. There's two different types, right? You're talking about a bloodthirsty group versus a group that just likes dancing in the moonlight.
Yeah, the shit is evil. You know?
It's very evil. Just be careful with what you give energy to. Remember what we said earlier, what Tony Robbins says, where attention goes, energy flows. So take that lesson today when you go out and you practice the arcane, and remember, don't give energy to anything evil.
And also, if in doubt, just
tune it out.
Oh, that's a good one.
In doubt, tune it out.
Did you hear that from someone?
No, I just made it up.
Oh, nice. We could get a t-shirt. Yeah.
Protect your peace, protect your mind, protect your soul. When in doubt, tune it out. Don't let them gain access.
I like that. But what I was going to say was, if in doubt, take care of yourself. Like, put your attention on yourself, on bettering yourself. As an empath, it's hard for me to see the things that are happening. Like I said, I got really depressed this week. You were sending me all this stuff about the food and everything. And I was just like, nothing's sacred, nothing's safe. Like, what's the point? It was very hard for me. And I have to, in those moments, I have no control over what these evil assholes are doing.
Yeah.
They want to kill us slowly. They're going to kill us. They're going to poison us. They're going to give us cancer. I cannot change that. What I can do is, instead of focusing on that negativity and doom and gloom and being like, I don't know, what's the point? What am I supposed to be doing? I take my focus and I put it inward. And how can I just improve myself? How can I be the best version of myself? And that I can control.
Yeah.
So it helps me stop the spiral of like depression and chaos and, that feeling of despair.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. If in doubt, focus on yourself.
So we hope that this advice helps you with navigating the evil rituals that are on display and a lot of the evil that you're going to see coming soon. More to come. They're not going to give up, and they're going to try to steer this bus into oblivion. Your job is to protect your soul, protect your sanity. Okay. And if you need help, we're here.
Hell yeah. With that, we're going to roll into our questions.
All right, let's rock.
Can psychic attacks happen accidentally, or are they always intentional?
Yeah, they can happen by mistake all the time. Psychic attack happens with a lot of people who have untrained minds, who have not indoctrinated in the arcane, and they may be gifted and not know it. Some people, I mean, even someone who's not gifted still has the capability of launching a psychic attack without even realizing it. If you dwell on how much you dislike someone, you want them to suffer, it will eventually cause changes on the ethereal layers, which will start to affect their perceptions of the world. You have to be careful, though. I mean, you can harm yourself too. But it's very much a possible thing to do. This is why you have to keep control of your emotions, especially if you're an empath. Empaths can launch psychic attacks much easier than regular folk, right? So empaths have especially undiagnosed empaths who haven't been trained, very capable of unleashing a psychic attack on someone. So be careful with your thoughts. The Bible warns you a lot not to wish ill on other individuals. This is the reason why, because the door swings both ways with psychic attack. Whoever you attack, you harm yourself as well. You also harm yourself more than the person that you're attacking. So to answer the question, yes, you can harm someone without intention. Just because you're upset, someone cut you off in traffic, or someone said something you don't like, or maybe someone sneak dissed you or something like that. And then later you're dwelling on it and you're getting mad, you're getting heated, and you're now wishing ill will on that person. Remember, you are made in the image of the Lord. So this is going back to the basic arcane principles. You're made in the image of the Lord. So if you're made in the image of the Lord, therefore you have the ability to cause change to reality, because the Lord has that ability to do it instantaneously. Now, we do it gradually over time because we're not as gifted as the Lord, of course, but we still have that ability. So you must be careful with where your thoughts go.
Yeah, that's really good. I was remembering this one time, I don't know, like 20 years ago. I was visiting my mom with my husband. We're on vacation. It was during the summer, and I was kind of annoyed that I got my period, and I get like violently ill, violently ill. And I was just really annoyed that it happened on vacation. And I very unintentionally, I did not mean to at all. I got my husband sick and I got my mom sick, and we were all three running to the bathroom at the same time. It was like, and at first I was annoyed by that, because I was like, no, I'm the one legitimately sick. You guys are fucking faking around and you're trying to take the attention off me, and I need like a blanket. I need somebody to cuddle with me. I need some chocolate. I need to be pampered right now. And all y'all are acting like you're sick, and I know you're not. So I was kind of like,
law of contagion, one of the arcane axioms. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I realized, I was like, oh, maybe I did that. Like, I was like, uh-oh. And then shortly after that, it stopped. Like, I was like, once I realized it,
Yeah.
it kind of just reeled in, and I was just like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, it was, looking back at it, it was hilarious.
Not when you're going through it.
Not when you're going through it, because I think the house only had 2 bathrooms and there was 3 of us.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, Sorry for the TMI, but like that's the lighter side of an unintentional psychic attack.
All
An
right.
accidental. Anyway, so yeah, it can happen. Happens to the best of us. But like narcissists, people who don't get their way and they fester on that negative energy and like throw that hate, throw that shade at somebody, the amount of like pinpoint accuracy of that focus, they don't have to be trained and they can create things to happen. There are a lot of cultures that are aware of this effect. You have people that talk about like the
evil eye.
The evil eye. I was going to say Mediterranean cultures, Greek, Italian. We have the evil eye. I think even Asia has their own version of the evil eye, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so many superstitions. When you think about it, when you look at it, they're all in relation to somebody attacking you.
Yeah. So we hope that answers your question. Yeah, very much so. If the untrained mind has the ability to attack people if you're not careful.
And I know we've said this before, but all the more reason to be nice to people.
Yeah.
To complete strangers if you accidentally cut somebody off.
Yeah.
Shit happens. Just be humble, apologize, and move on. You know, sometimes just being nice. Or you see somebody struggling with something, can't reach something. I'm a shorty, so I'm constantly in the grocery aisle like, I can't reach. And you know, it's really nice when somebody comes by and is like, oh, here, let me grab this for you. That's happened a few times. And I'm like, thank you so much. You like literally saved me. It doesn't take much to improve somebody's day, and it definitely doesn't take much to ruin their day. And so if you ruin the wrong person's day, you can have a John Wick situation on your hands. You don't know who you're pissing off. So just be nice. The second question is, what are the most effective ways to protect yourself without expensive tools or rituals?
Well, I think Simone just covered that. Kindness is your first line of defense. This is why Jesus also says to be kind to others, be kind and supportive and loving to others. That way they can't launch a psychic attack on you. It's very hard to, a trained dark magician can still launch one on you regardless, but it's much more difficult for them to do that without the fuel of anger. Anger is a really potent fuel that's utilized by dark practitioners and utilized by people who might not even be intending on launching a psychic attack. So the first line of defense is always kindness, being positive. Positive energy neutralizes the negative energy. That's my advice to you. Now, it's easier said than done. It really is, because if someone's being a jerk, you might get upset and slap them. It's hard for us to wish good things for people being negative. That's why Jesus says it's really hard because of pride. Pride kicks in and that person upsets you a lot. But with that said, be careful who you go out and you agitate in the world, because you might be upsetting a dark sorcerer. And I've seen some really bad cases where an individual pissed off a dark sorcerer and a lot of his family members started dying, started dropping like flies. And he came in and told me and one of my best friends that he felt like a dark fog was over his mind and his body and over his life. And we started asking him questions, and it turned out he upset a dark practitioner, someone who was very well versed in jacking him up. So there was, at the time, there was very little we could do to help him because we didn't really understand the magnitude of what he was dealing with. So kindness. This individual that I'm talking about who agitated the dark sorcerer always walked around like he had a chip on his shoulder and treated people extremely rude. After that, I think he learned a very humbling lesson. Don't mess with people. Try to be kind to others like the Lord Jesus Christ tells you. First line of defense, kindness.
And to add on to that, I think the power of prayer is very strong too.
Yes.
And both of those things don't cost you anything.
Don't cost a dime. Just a little bit of humility and love.
Yeah. And when you're dealing with demonic entities, prayer is very important because they do not like the word of God. They do not like the prayers. They do not like that energy in any way. They can't survive in that energy.
No, they can't. And your prayers terraform the energies around you into positive. There's a lot to them. They're very powerful. They can turn your area into positive energies. So they don't like that. It makes them very difficult to hold a grip on reality when that's actually happening. So yeah, prayer and kindness, first lines of defense.
And then if you want to start with like actual tools, The tools I would start with is sage, just regular plain white sage. Do not get it laced with anything because you don't know what those other additional herbs do. There are some that are specifically used in summoning rituals. So you want to make sure, especially if you're trying to get something out, that you're not using anything else because you could be just welcoming it in further. So don't do that. Plain white sage and then incense, frankincense and myrrh.
Frankincense and myrrh is a really good one.
Yeah. Again, not laced with anything.
Yeah, you don't want a calling agent by accident a lot. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that a lot of incense is being laced with some of the calling reagents. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. But if you let a calling reagent go and you don't have an intention behind it, you could be pulling any wandering spirit into your life. And most likely it'll be a negative one.
So I think those two would be the bare minimum. You can do a lot of purification with just those two items. And if you don't like sage, you can substitute Palo Santo.
Palo Santos, yes.
They're very similar.
But just remember that existence, it consists of all the different senses. So this is the reason why you burn certain things. That's a frequency. You see certain things, you speak certain things, you hear certain things. All of it culminates into your existence. So this is the reason why you do these things.
Also, something else that's pretty free. You want to make sure you cleanse yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, that's as simple as bathing regularly, brushing your teeth, and also cleaning your domicile, your dwelling. Keep it clean because when you are surrounded by clutter, it's a constricting energy and it brings your energy and the vibration of your home down. So if you're feeling, claustrophobic, you're feeling like you're in a cave, like it's really dark, a simple spring cleaning, you would be surprised. I mean, have you ever cleaned your house, done a spring cleaning, and at the end, all of a sudden you're like, dang, it's brighter in here. It wasn't bright like this before. It felt very heavy, felt like you were in a cave. So I've had that happen with some clients. And when we did just a basic cleaning, all of a sudden the sun came out. It was the craziest thing, but it actually happens. Again, it doesn't cost anything hardly to clean your space. Everyone has a broom. You probably have some cleaner somewhere.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Demons, they don't like clean areas. And when the area is clean, your mind is less cluttered. You're taking in less. So it helps out a lot. Yeah, that was really good advice.
They like to stay in dark corners.
They like chaos. So if your home's a mess and you're getting a vibe that, chill down your spine or something like that, or you get this odd feeling, this dark cloud is just hanging around in the corner of the room or something, I'm not saying it's demons. But it's demons.
Yeah, they like stagnant air. And if not cleaning regularly, the air can be very stagnant. Open the door, open the window, let it air out, get that flow of that fresh energy, fresh.
In the East, they call it feng shui.
Feng shui, yeah.
Yeah, energy flowing in your home properly. Energy's all around you. So yeah, really good advice.
Yeah. Okay. So we gave you a lot of advice there.
A lot of advice, yeah.
A lot of it won't cost you hardly anything. So, okay, on to our announcements. New episodes of The Veil Between come out every second and fourth Wednesday, and our Occult Pop comes out every first and third Wednesday. And join our Discord if you want to talk with other people who've, encountered the same things that you do or have seen some crazy shit and, just start that conversation. You can make some really good just friendships. And our current book read is Occult America by Mitch Horowitz. We're taking our time on this one because it's deep.
Yes.
It's a very fascinating read. And so join us. You're not missing out just because we already started it. We're still, we're going pretty slow. So
some books are meant to be savored.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
So it's not too late to join in and catch up with us. So I think I'm only a few chapters in. If you would like to, if you're liking the show, just, please like, share, subscribe. And if you're on a platform that has reviews, ratings and or reviews, please, it would mean so much if you could leave us a review or a rating.
Yeah. Would really help out a lot.
Yeah, and just help spread the word about us. Those ratings really help out a lot.
Yeah, they do. Thank you all so much for all those who comment and leave thumbs up and all of that on so many platforms. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it.
I love the comments. We get some pretty good engagement.
Yeah, it's just we have a smart viewership. I appreciate that. It's small, it's growing, but it's smart. I like that.
I would prefer that any day over a bunch of people who are just making noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I like that our viewership is really joining the conversation.
Yeah, very smart, intelligent comments.
So thank you so much. We appreciate every single one of you. Oh, I wanted to announce that I know that some people had a hard time navigating the Arcana District website. So I went ahead and I created a stand store. That link is now pretty much everywhere on all my socials. It's on our YouTube page and everything is there. It's a one-stop shop. You can grab the free Psychic Shield download. It's right there. It's at the very top. And with the stand store, we have decided to add a consultation call. So if you are experiencing something and you want to know our thoughts on it, you want some like 2-on-1, because it's not going to be 1-on-1. You're going to get both of us. 2-on-1 advice, you can schedule a consultation call with us. And from that call, we can decide if anything further is needed, like if you actually need us to come and help you with the cleansing, or if we can just give you advice on how to do it yourself. And
yeah, some people are too far out. Sadly, we don't have the budget to. Not yet.
Well, I did recently go to Atlanta, but that was because somebody paid for that trip. But anyway, we want to help as many people as possible. So we're trying to make it accessible to as many people as possible. So if you want to book a call and we can go from there, it's all there in the link. So check it out. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Our email is theveilbetweenpodcast@gmail.com. You can also email me at arcanadistrict@gmail.com. And I am on Instagram and TikTok at Arcana District.
And I am on Instagram and Facebook at Guy Quintero.
And TikTok.
Yeah. I always forget TikTok.
I know you don't do TikTok.
I don't get it, and it don't get me. So thank you all for tuning in on this episode. I'm looking forward to hearing comments. If you've noticed anything spooky, crazy, evil about the Olympic ceremony that we might have missed, or if you just want to talk more about what we've covered and maybe you have more thoughts on it, we'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments section. Please like, share, subscribe, because it really helps out the show.
See you next time, guys.
See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.